If you wanted a high-tech, spacious, capable and practical all-electric premium SUV, you do well to consider something like this, the Audi e-tron. Yes, it's a little bit on the pricier end of the scale, but it's a very, very good car. But what if you wanted everything that this car offers, but with a little bit more stylishness? Well, then you'd want this. Welcome back to SG Carmart Reviews, and today we're driving the all-new Audi e-tron Sportback. So what's actually different about this Sportback model? Well, visually this is a more distinctive and sporty looking car. So what you do get are these larger black air inlets which combine with the single frame grille to give a really wide and aggressive looking car. However, where you really see the difference is if we check out the back. The Audi e-tron Sportback is priced from $338,461. The dual electric motors produce 308 brake horsepower and 540 Nm of torque. The two-stage planetary gearbox brings the car from 0 to 100 km/h in 6.8 seconds. For more details on the Audi e-tron Sportback or any other car, head on to sgcarmart.com to help you make a smart choice on your next car. As the name suggests, this car gets a nice tapered roofline. So this is what brands like to call a coupe SUV, right? And I must say visually, it's definitely an imposing kind of look. Actually, this car is slightly shorter than your standard e-tron, it's 14 mm lower, but I actually think visually it looks like the bigger car. Now, if we move on further to the rear, again, because of that tapered roofline, you get this sharper rear end that sort of ends off in this little spoiler here, but beyond that, you know, it looks like an Audi, it looks like an e-tron. Now, let's check out the boot. So here we have a 615-litre boot, which is smaller than your standard e-tron, that one 660 litres, but it's still honestly massive, right? You can fit your big luggage, you can easily fit the anti-trolley. And yeah, I mean, 615 litres, honestly, I think it's more than most people need. If you are struggling and this isn't enough for you, I think you need to go and Marie Kondo your life and maybe make some better packing decisions. Now, let's go check out the inside of the car. With a tapered roofline, yes, headroom is slightly less than the standard e-tron. So here we actually have 20 mm less headroom, which might seem like a lot, but honestly, 2 cm in a car that's already really big and spacious, you're not really going to feel it. I mean, I'm a average size Singaporean and I still have plenty of headroom, right? So unless you have like really tall passengers, I don't think anyone will actually feel the difference. And you know, with this car and like with the standard e-tron, what I really like is the fact that it's super spacious, right? I have so much legroom, and this is because this is a bespoke EV platform, so you have what they call a cab-forward design, right? So they can actually maximize the available space on the platform, and as a result, you know, look, I have so much space. It's honestly kind of ridiculous. What else? I think the rear, you get some nice equipment. So we have these effectively a 4-zone climate control. So you can actually individually control the fan speed and the temperature of these two aircon vents, and this is cool. You have, just like the front, you have these like slide controls. Yeah, and what else? We have ISO fixed points here, and also we have this, the center console, we have a nice little storage compartment here and cool little cup holders. Right, let's go check out the front. If you've sat in any modern Audi, then this space should be immediately familiar. So you've got your virtual cockpit. This one allows you to display, you know, like your navigation, your music, your charge, etc. We also get a head-up display, and we get this fairly standard 2-screen setup. So your infotainment system is a standard Audi system. I actually really like it. It's a very straightforward, simple, intuitive and easy to use. At the same time, it's really sleek. We also get wireless Apple CarPlay, which is very useful for when you need to listen to your podcast, your Spotify, whatsoever, right? Here we have a climate controls, fairly straightforward, don't really want to talk too much about it. We also get these drive selects, and this car has adaptive suspension, so it can raise and lower the ride height accordingly. And okay, this parking camera, very useful feature. We have this 3D surround view, or 3D overhead view it's called. I think it's especially useful in this car because this is honestly quite a big car, right? Like, it's a big footprint, and if you are in a small car park or in tight spaces, this comes in very handy, I think, to be able to just see what's around you and make sure that you're not sort of knocking into anyone, or at least you have some space to get out of the car, right? What else? Okay, so because this is an EV, you get quite a lot of additional storage here, right? You know, because there's no central transmission and etc. But one thing I really do like is this wireless charging pad. So typically with most cars, your wireless charging is, you know, somewhere here or somewhere here, and you know, it takes up space. So Audi has a very elegant solution, which is they've mounted it vertically. So yeah, just like that, easily slot your phone in, gets the job done. And ultimately, I think that's what I really like about this cabin, right? Everything's practical, easy use. It's very premium, obviously. You've got very nice materials. You've got plush leather, you've got Alcantara, you've got some of these fabrics. But all in all, it's a very, very nice premium interior. One thing this car doesn't get, that we do get in that e-tron, are the virtual mirrors. So let's go check out the virtual mirrors. So these are the Audi virtual mirrors. Basically, it's a camera mounted on where typically your wing mirror would be, and the camera actually transmits whatever is outside the car onto this 7-inch OLED display. And what's also cool is that there's a proximity sensor where if I put my hand close, it will actually detect my hand, and from here you can then adjust it as you would your typical wing mirror, right? And if you click this, you can then also adjust the passenger side one. So beyond just being a cool feature, this also has some functionality. So if there's someone in your blind spot, this area will actually light up yellow, and if you signal and it's clear, this will actually be green to show you that yes, you can immediately filter. So yeah, this is a really nice, cool feature. Is it game-changing or groundbreaking anyway? No, you know, you can still get away with using your standard wing mirror, but it does add that sense of sort of high-tech, futuristic feel to it. And this virtual wing mirror is actually more aerodynamic, so that would help with your overall range and efficiency. So yeah, that is the Audi e-tron cabin for you. So let's go drive it and see how it feels on the road. How does the e-tron Sportback feel on the road? Well, honestly, I must say it's very delightful. The driving experience is very similar to the standard e-tron, which is no surprise at all. I mean, the cars are pretty much similar. But I think the thing that I do like the most about this car is the fact that, you know, it's very nice and quiet and smooth. So now I'm doing 70 km per hour on the highway and you can't really hear anything, which is very nice. I like that it feels insulated from the world. And of course, the drivetrain is very smooth. You get easy acceleration, you have tons of torque, obviously, but there isn't that suddenness to the performance, which is nice. The other thing I do like is the fact that this is a very, very comfortable car. Yes, the suspension is nice and soft and smooth and not overly soft, so it does a good job of dealing with the car's overall weight, which is, you know, still quite substantial. But more importantly than that, I do really like the adaptive or automatic recuperation that this car has. So essentially, it will intelligently decide, you know, how much recuperation it gives you, stuff like that. So now I'm just going along, and because the car in front of me is a little bit far away, there is basically no recuperation going on. But if I just get a little bit closer to the car in front of me, the car will actually detect the distance and then start to kick in the recuperation a little bit just to slow me down, make sure I don't get too close to the car in front of me. And that's great. I like the fact that it's a very progressive sense of recuperation. There isn't that you know, sometimes with EVs you get that jerkiness when it kicks into a higher recuperation setting for that matter. And I really like that, and because of this, you don't actually have to worry about, oh, you need to use your pedal shifters to change recuperation at like highway speed, stuff like that. This car does it all for you, and that's great. That means that there's really that sense of ease of use and serenity with this car, and basically you don't have to think too much about it, right? You just drive it like how you would drive any normal car. Honestly, that's great. And of course, this is an EV, so yes, if you need to go quickly, it is very, very, very fast. You have your instantaneous electric torque, so you know, if I just put my foot down, yep, I'm just rocketing ahead. And yeah, you know, that's what an EV gives you, right? This isn't even the sort of high power variant. This is the low power variant, and it's more power than you ever need. So that's great. As far as efficiency goes, I think this car is okay. So I've been driving it for a little bit, and based on my current sort of efficiency figures, I will probably be able to get about 280 kilometers out of one full charge, which is alright. It's not the greatest. Again, this is the smaller capacity battery, so you have slightly less range, but I think it's reasonable for most people. You know, that's probably what, 4 or 5 days if you don't charge it. But obviously you should charge it as and when you can. And this car actually, using DC charging, it actually is capable of charging at up to 120 kilowatts. Unfortunately, in Singapore currently there's only 120 kilowatt charger, not counting the Tesla superchargers, right? So Audi, the Audi Center at Ubi actually has one such charging station. So using that, you can get like up to 80% of, or you can get to 80% of charge in under half an hour. But reasonably, you probably expect like an hour to get a kind of charge. Or as and when you can find a charging lot, just plug the car in and just get another 50, 70 km of range whenever you can, right? So yeah, all in all, I think this is a very, very comfortable, very serene and very usable EV, and I like that. So, the Audi e-tron Sportback, is it a will buy, won't buy, or go try? For me, this is a will buy. Look, with the standard Audi e-tron, I think that's a very, very good car, and unsurprisingly, I think this is a very, very good car as well. The two cars are not that different. What you do get is a high quality, high capability and premium car that just does every job, but does every job well. And actually, between this and the standard e-tron, there's not a lot separating the two in terms of price as well. The difference is actually only $501. So I think ultimately it's a bit of a toss-up, right? What do you want? Do you want something that's a little bit more stylish, has a little bit more presence, or do you want something that's a little bit more unassuming but packs a tad more practicality? Yes, there are other cheaper EV SUV alternatives on the market, and the two that come to mind are the iX3 and the EQC. But where I think the e-tron surpasses those cars is the fact that this is a bespoke EV. And as a result, you don't get the same compromises, especially space and packaging wise, that you would get with those cars, which are essentially EV conversions of existing ICE cars. So I think with the e-tron, while it may not be cheap, I do think that you're really getting your money's worth. Right, so that's our review of the Audi e-tron Sportback. What do you think? Let us know in the comment section below, and also let us know if there are any other cars that you want to see us review. Of course, hit the like and subscribe button and share this video with your friends. And hit the notification bell so that you can see more of our videos that are upcoming. And follow us on TikTok where we are doing fun stuff with these cars. So until the next video, bye!